Well. That was absolutely awful last night. Haven't had a chance to react to it. Haven't had a chance to talk about it. Haven't had a chance to do a video. So the best way to do this is go live, get it off my chest, talk about it before this evening's games. So here I am. Safe to say, like the title of this video, the bounce has stopped bouncing for Michael Carrick's Manchester United. That's facts, right? That's one win in four now, two of which have been losses. I wasn't sure if it was a bounce. I thought, you know what? The guy's playing players in the correct positions, unlike Amarim. Maybe it's as simple as that. These players are finally in the environment and the positions that they want to be in, hence the performances. But you have to say, since the Man City performance to the Arsenal performance, each performance has got a little bit worse and worse, and we kind of got ourselves out of trouble. And then people are blaming, we had people going to the moon and coming back, and Man United hadn't played for 26 days. They're blaming that. But it seems that even when we play two consecutive games back to back, we can't handle that either. So which one is it? We were absolutely awful yesterday. And like I said, one win in four to me shows that this potentially was a manager bounce. Let's go to yesterday's game. Pretty simple. The players are not good enough. I've called them passenger princesses for a very, very long time. And there's just so many of them. A little while back on the football terrace, I spoke about Ahmad. I called him Anthony 2.0. I was called negative. I was called crazy. I was told and challenged that is there a better right wing back in the world? Where are we going to find a better right wing back? He was the second coming of Victor Moses, some were saying to me. Not good enough. Zero end product. I mean, honestly, the guy's got no power in his feet whatsoever, especially his favoured left foot. He cuts in, has a shot, and I'll be very, very honest with you. Even if the goalkeeper wasn't there, I'm not sure that ball would treacle into the net. It's absolutely awful. Not a fan of him at all. Mazraoui fallen off a cliff since Ten Hag left. Straight up. Not been the same player. I thought he was a fantastic signing when he came in. He is completely off it, is Mazraoui. Not good enough. And it says a lot when we're bringing on Dallo for Mazraoui, hoping for an improvement. Another player we need to cash in on. And there's so many of them, guys. So many of them. Lenny Yoro, I don't know if he's confused from Amarim's system, or have we simply been mugged off with Lenny Yoro? Real Madrid wanting him, the propaganda behind him. He's been awful from start to finish since signing for Manchester United, and he was terrible yesterday. Yes, he was fouled for the first goal, but let's face it, guys, he's not strong enough. He's not strong enough. He's too stringy, he's too gangly. He's always a yard off it. He's always making last ditch tackles. He's just not good enough, is Lenny Euro. And I said this on my stream yesterday. We need to cash in on a few players quickly and fast and get this money in as soon as possible and reinvest. Look, businesses, any club that's in a strong position, right? They capitalize on that. That's when they invest. That's when they kick on. They don't let themselves go backwards. Any business, any organization, any corporation. I said this yesterday. Manchester United are currently third. They're in the Champions League spots. I'm hoping this bounce don't go from bouncing up here right back down here and we can't get a win all of a sudden. I really hope that's not the case. This weekend's game against Chelsea becomes massive. But the point I'm trying to make, and I made this point yesterday on the Emotion Room stream, we need to show strength now as a club. We need to think about who we're going to announce as manager, who we're going to interview as manager. I hope we're looking into all of these things. I'm not saying it's not going to be Michael Carrick. I'm not saying it should be Michael Carrick. But safe to say, yesterday's game, he looked clueless. Safe to say, against Newcastle, also clueless, bringing Malacia on. Safe to say, at halftime, we needed at least 3 or 4 changes. He didn't make them. Safe to say, one win in four is not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good, bruv. So this team, this hierarchy, this club needs to kick on from here. See that we're third. See that we're third and start making big, big boy moves. Go and get Luis Enrique somehow, some way. Offer him the absolute world if you have to. You know, announce that next week. Announce that straight after the Champions League final, which he probably gets PSG there and wins it. Announce it straight after that, that he's moving to Manchester United to create even more history. We need to kick on. I can't go through this again. You know, if we can get back in the Champions League, invest that money, sell players such as Ahmad, sell players such as Mazraoui, sell players such as Dallo. Ugarte, you wouldn't even get £2 for him, especially on yesterday's performance. Then we could kick on from here. But I tell you what, that was as bad as it's got. And if you want an omen, that first half, the amount of shots on target on our goal and the GA that we were conceding, right, was equivalent to that game that Ollie was in charge against Liverpool. So if there's an omen for you there, and if you've got PTSD from Ollie and Carrick now being the second coming of Ollie, that's maybe a sign for you right there. Scary, scary times. Carrick's done a fantastic job up until now. If someone had told me when Amarim walked, because that's what Amarim did. Amarim resigned. He didn't get sacked. He resigned. When he did that interview, he basically said, "I've had enough. I don't want to be here no more. I'm clueless. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing." And is it ironic that yesterday we got beat by a 3-4-3 system? Crazy. And Amarim's system schooled us yesterday. And I'm tired. I'm tired. Since Fergie left, every manager that's been in charge, so many teams have come to Old Trafford or wherever we've played them and shown us how to play football, shown us how to pass the ball. I mean, Leeds looked like fucking Real Madrid yesterday at Old Trafford. Absolutely shocking. Absolutely shocking. We need to kick on from here. We need to kick on from here. And I really don't know what's next. I really hope we can hold on to that third position. Worst case, fourth. Worst case, fifth, right? And from there, as I've been saying, we need to kick on. Appoint the right manager. Sell the players. Be ruthless. Be ruthless. There's a lot of players in this team that's worth fuck all. Ugarte, you get nothing for him. Luke Shaw, you're never going to get anything for him ever again. I can't believe he's still trotting around in a Man United shirt. And we're expecting changes. One thing Amarim did do, right, was a nice little spring clean. He got rid of a lot of deadwood, but there's so much still there. Dallo and Mourinho signing, for goodness sake. Mazraoui, of course, a Ten Hag signing. Luke Shaw, Louis van Gaal signing. How have we still got these players there? And let's face it, players like Ahmad, who we could still get 30, 40 million for, this is just another Lingard situation. This is another Martial situation. Full of potential, hoping that he'll turn it on a consistent basis. It ain't happening, bruv. Cash in on these players. Like you cashed in on McTominay. Whether any of us agree with that or not, whether that was a mistake or not, we need to be ruthless, cash in on players, and kick on from here. I just really hope Michael Carrick can do his caretaker job. I really hope Michael Carrick can do his caretaker job and take care of these Champions League places that he's got us in. That's all I hope. And like I said, I'm going to repeat myself. Organizations, corporations, any business, they kick on from a strong position. And us finishing in the Champions League doesn't mean we stay where we are. Michael Carrick did a great job. We'll sign one or two players and we'll kick on from there. No. We need to strike whilst the iron's hot. Let me give you a perfect example. The United Stand and Mark Goldbridge today announced that Overlap has bought them or whatever it's done. The United Stand's probably the strongest freaking YouTube channel on YouTube when it comes to football content. But from a strong position, they've kicked on, got investment, brought in some even bigger boys than them, right? To kick on and to dominate. Michael Carrick, all I ask from you is do your caretaker job, which you have done up until this point. But 1 win in 4 is not looking good, bruv. Not looking good, bruv. And 2 of them being draws. Sorry, 2 of them being losses and 1 of them a draw. We need to make sure he does his caretaker job, gets us Champions League. That was the job he was brought in for. And if he does that, We need to kick on from there and get the right man for the job. I'm going to go through some of these comments that have come in here. Michael, we look rusty and awful. I'd reckon we should. Oh, Eddie Howe, if we want a Prem proven first team coach. Oh, Michael, I so don't agree with you there, mate. I agree with you so often, but that is not. He is criminally let off. He's been awful this season for Newcastle. Awful. I'd take both their midfielders, Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali. He's got them in midfield and he can't. I mean, he's been awful this season. He's the one I think would give us consistency we need, and we could bring Bruno and Tonali too. I agree with the Bruno and Tonali. I do not agree with Eddie Howe. Cannot stand him. Think he's the most overrated coach in the Premier League. Euro is the one for the future, but honestly, I think for a defender, your starting centre back should be at 25, 26 years old. Check out Sir Alex Ferguson. His starting centre backs are players in their peak, then he rotates with Euros. It's true. And to be fair to Euro, he's probably just confused. He's gone from a back three now to a traditional, two centre backs, back four. The geezer's confused, but for me, I've not seen anything from him since he's come to the club. Absolutely nothing. And what did we pay for him? Something like 50 odd million? We've had our trousers pulled down there for sure. Kobe may not meet your expectations, but we did miss him yesterday. I mean, Kobe fans will say that. Kobe fans will say that. He wouldn't have made a difference yesterday, I don't think. Honestly, they were playing us off the park, and I don't see how Kobe Mania would have stopped that. Yes, Ugarte was giving the ball away a lot, and maybe a few stray passes that Ugarte gave away, Kobe Mania would not have. That I agree with. But don't act like Kobe Mainoo's the saviour and he's gonna fix all our problems. And had he played yesterday, we would have won that game easily. No chance, mate. No chance, mate. Six-figure amount, David. I'm guessing you're talking about the United stand. I've used that as an example. I've used that as an example because that's an organisation, that's a business that is in a very strong position. They don't need to do anything different. But what have they done? We want to grow. We want to kick on. We want to go to that next level. We want to be here for the foreseeable future. We want to dominate. And what have they done to dominate? They've basically appointed Luis Enrique. The overlap. They've basically appointed Gary Neville as the equivalent to Luis Enrique. That's what they've done. Straight up. And Manchester United need to take a leaf out of the United stands book, dare I say it. And, you know, strike while the iron's hot. We're in the right places. I don't know, announce a signing or something that you're working on and that you've got over the line and that will happen at the end of the season. Something to give the fans, the team, everyone thinking, okay, we're heading in the right direction. We've got to cement this Champions League spots. But to finish, because I want to watch the rest of the football this evening, it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough yesterday. That's the worst I've seen it under Michael Carrick. That's the worst I've seen it for a little while. And like I said at the start of this stream, and that's how I'm going to end it. 1 win in 4 firmly looks like the bounce has stopped bouncing. We've just got to hope as United fans that it doesn't continue going lower than it is now. We need a result against Chelsea. We do not do well at Stamford Bridge. We have not done well at Stamford Bridge for a very, very long time. So I'm worried about this weekend. But we do have a cushion. But the way we played last night, the way we got played off the park, Martinez out now. Mainu, I don't know how long he's out for. Having to play Ugarte. Who are we going to play at centre back with Yoro? Aiden Heaven? Maguire's injured, I think, still. Or not injured. Is he suspended, Maguire? Or injured anyway? I don't know how long he's out for. It's not looking good, bruv, for this weekend. Not looking good at all. Eddie had an awful window and his signings haven't delivered. But with Wilcox, I think he will come through because I don't think Luis Enrique will leave PSG for United. You say that, like I said, I think Eddie Howe, I mean, signing Elanga for whatever it was, what was it, 40 million, something like that from Nottingham Forest? Crazy, crazy work. Elanga's a 100-metre sprinter. He's a failed 100-metre sprinter. That's what he is. How you would pay that money for him. And you're right, they were in for quite a few players, and that's the food chain. You can't always get the players you want when people like Man United come in for Sesko and so forth. You know what I mean? But as for Enrique, all I'm praying for is that he wins the Champions League And he realizes that, mate, what more can I do here? There's only one more place I can create a legacy, and I will be known as probably one of the greatest managers of all time. He's in that conversation now already, but if he came to the Premier League and took Manchester United back to winning a Premier League, he'll be up there in big, big, big conversations. A treble with Barcelona, treble with PSG. If he won the Champions League this year, that's back-to-back Champions Leagues. Comes to Man United, takes them back to the promised land. I tell you what, if we could raise, right, 100 million, right, by selling Ahmad, Mazraoui, Dallo, and Ugarte. I'm telling you this now, whether this is realistic or not. If we could raise 100 million by selling Ahmad, Mazraoui, Dallo, and Ugarte, and said to Luis Enrique, here's 100 million, he would fucking come, and it would be worth every penny. It would be worth every penny. Comment below once this video's done and tell me if I'm wrong. If we sold those 4 players and spent that money on Luis Enrique, it would be worth every penny. Maybe I'm losing the plot. Anyway, guys, I'm going to check out. This was short. This was sweet. Thanks for those that have been here. It was awful from Manchester United yesterday. We got a big game this weekend against Chelsea. We do not do well at Stamford Bridge, but perhaps we need another Bruno assist. We need another Casemiro header. Did you see that stat, by the way, before I sign out? Casemiro's last 6 or 7 goals have been from headers that Bruno has provided. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Got a few more comments coming in before I sign out. Wagwan, Mr. David. Yes, yeah. You're here for me, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. If Arsenal doesn't win a trophy this season like they normally do, then I believe they will let go of Arteta and Enrique would be more open to joining them than United. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they'll go Fabregas next, Michael. I don't think they'll go for a big name like that. Honestly, they should. They should. I mean, honestly, even a Conte or a Jose Mourinho could get them over the line, the team that they've got there at the moment. The solidness that they got there at the moment. They just need someone with a bit of a mindset, you know? Yeah, I just need Luis Enrique at Manchester United, and it's um, it's not about slating Carrick. It's not about not being grateful for what Carrick's done. I would have bit your hand off the fact that we're third in the Premier League right now. The performance against City, the performance against Arsenal, unbelievable highlights of our season, right? But he's been brought in. We need to chill out, not be too emotional. He's been brought in to get us into this position, and he's done that. He's done that. But now, 1 win in 4. There's still a lot of games for him to prove us wrong and to show us that this is just a blip. But 1 win in 4 is starting to look a little bit like, oh, was this a bounce? And this is my worry. And I don't want to mention Ollie because that's a thing of the past. And yes, we're all a bit worried. Could Carrick be another Ollie where he started well and then we give him the job? I just don't want to go down that avenue anymore. And let's have it right. He was on the touchline yesterday, bloodshot eyes, didn't look like he knew what to do, started calling Steve Holland. Didn't look great to me. Didn't look great to me. In the Newcastle game, brings on Malacia. That cost us the game. Yesterday should have made subs a lot earlier. I'm not going to say Michael Carrick cost us the game, but I'm sorry. If your team hasn't played for 26 days, it's your job to make sure they're doing the right things. It's your job to get them prepared. It's your job to make sure they're mentally ready to give the fans what they've been waiting for 26 days. I mean, the fitness, let's be honest here, since Amarin and his staff have gone, Manchester United's fitness as a team has gone downhill. They do not look as sharp as they were. They're not running as intensely as they were. Seems like they've got a day off every time with Michael Carrick. It's more holidays than hard work, is what it seems. And for me, that's showing on the pitch. They're second to every ball. I mean, look at our performance against Man City, against Arsenal, the amount of running we were doing. We were winning every second ball. Players were making runs. I tell you what, Amarim and his staff had the team very, very fit, and part of that is because he's playing half of them out of position, so they're having to run a hell of a lot more. But that fitness has now tailed off. It's almost like a poor man's version of Jurgen Klopp that set up Liverpool, Slot took over, and he kicked on from there. Amorim had us in a very fit place. Carrick put the players in the correct position, and boom. You saw the performances that we've had, and it took us to basically, since 2026, top of the Premier League for points. But the performances have slowly but surely dipped away. And like I said, 1 win in 4 is not looking good, bruv. But listen, big game at Stamford Bridge. We don't usually do well there. Go and get a convincing win there, and the narrative changes. You start scratching your head and saying, maybe I was wrong. And I hope he does prove me wrong. Enrique is a dream for me, but with Ineos, expect Iraola or Eddie. I'm worried. I'm worried. I saw Areola today saying that he's leaving Bournemouth at the end of the season. Could that mean it? You know, could that mean he's coming to Manchester United? I mean, he's done a great job at Bournemouth, but I'm done. I'm done with that. I need proven. And people that tell me that we've done the proven route, no, we haven't. We've not done the proven route, and I'll explain why before I sign off. Yeah, LVG was done. He was in retirement when we got him. He wasn't at his peak. Was proven, but he wasn't at his peak. Jose Mourinho is someone we should have given the job to straight after Fergie retired. By the time we gave him the job, he wasn't the Jose Mourinho of old, despite that he did a good job for us. It's time we gave someone the job at the peak of their powers. And that's Luis Enrique. That is Luis Enrique. Amrit would make a good sporting director for us, yeah, potentially. Listen, he was awful for us, Ruben Amorim. Absolutely awful. And the only positives I can get from this fella was he got rid of a lot of players that, you know, we need a bit more of that. We need some more players that we need to get rid of. And I've listed them out in this stream. And he got the team very fit. He got the team very fit, the fittest I've seen them. And that really showed when Michael Carrick took over. Really, really showed. But we're at a crossroads here, guys. I think the team, the fans, the manager even, Michael Carrick, thought that top 4 was wrapped up. Top 5 was wrapped up. Champions League was wrapped up. But this is a lot closer than you think. A lot closer than you think. We need a result this weekend against Chelsea. That was a shocking performance yesterday. Let's call it a bad day at the office, but for the 5th time on this stream, that's 1 win in 4 now, 2 of which have been losses. That's facts. So if we're not careful, we then lose to Chelsea this weekend, right? That's now 1 win in 5, 3 of which will be losses. This could turn very ugly very quickly and very squeaky bum time very, very, very quickly. But guys, I shall catch you on the next one. I'm signing out, Dave Remontada for Barcelona. Love the guys. Yes, for sure. Me too. I'm going to go watch the Champions League despite us not being in it. Guys, it's been emotional. Thanks for those that have been here. I shall catch you on the next one. Boom. End stream, baby.